On this channel, I've tested well over 50 controllers.
Actually, maybe more like 45. 50 just sounds better.
So I'm going to talk about the best 5 Pro controllers that I've used that you can buy in 2025.
From worst to best, emphasis on worst, so be warned. We'll start with the Astro C40 as the 5th best Pro controller. My experience with the Astro C40 has been nothing short of mediocre, if not underwhelming and disappointing, but it does hold a special place in my heart for many reasons. This was my first Pro controller and it honestly felt like it, not just because of the $200 price tag, but from the whole unboxing experience. It's not, but it feels like everything included in the box is worth the money. Like I said earlier, I've gotten to test multiple controllers. The Astro C40 is surprisingly still the highest quality controller I've ever held to this day. It's sturdy, it's heavy, and something about it just feels really premium. Until it breaks in about a month. Being completely honest, I've had 2 of the same recurring problems with every single Astro C40 I've ever owned. Either the sticks would malfunction, which you can monitor in the Astro C40 software itself, or one of the plastic bumpers on either side would snap and inevitably fall out of the controller. I take insanely good care of my controllers. I've never dropped a controller. I'm not rough with them, but this one in particular is just not built for pro gaming, which is just frankly sad considering the price point. Thinking about it now, I probably have tested well over 50 controllers, but half of them have literally been the Astro C40 just because it broke on me so much. I'm not even exaggerating. There's a 1-year warranty that covers the controller, and I've had multiple replacements sent out under the same and different warranties. I probably have bought like 10 of them, but got an extra 15 to 20 replacements. I know it's ridiculous. And to be honest, I'm still throwing away old boxes today, but for key features, and if you're a casual gamer, I could recommend this controller. Okay, I really don't, but it did basically give me over 300,000 subscribers because it was so good. So I feel like I owe it something still. Kind of like a ex-spouse. Anyways, yeah, it's a PC/PS4 controller, and you can buy them refurbished only from the Astro C40 site for cheaper if you want. Just use your warranty and don't say I didn't warn you. Controller number 4 is actually a decent controller, and I chose the DualSense Edge, which is also very expensive, but not as expensive as it was. There's a whole backstory with this thing to where you couldn't fully customize the controller for PC unless you had a PS5, which I didn't have and did have to buy for science, but I guess and hope it went viral enough to where word got out and Sony ended up making a fully customizable first-party app for PC, which is so convenient and actually warrants an applause because it feels sadly rare that companies actually fix something on the gaming side of tech. Anyways, it's truly a decent controller. In the travel case, there's a lot of physical customization included, and it feels exactly like a regular first-party DualSense PS5 controller, but a little heavier and obviously with paddles. The trigger stops and sticks are pretty standard. Nothing disappoints me about the controller, and nothing really excites me about it either, which is okay. And I can actually recommend this one without a warning. It does lack some new key features like Hall Effect, which prevents stick drift. And actually, speaking of preventing stick drift, there is replaceable analog sticks, which I've never tried. Hopefully they're better than the Astro C40s because I've also had a few of those. So if you've tried one or multiple replacement sticks for the DualSense Edge, please make yourself useful and let me and everyone else know if they're any good. For the entire controller, I personally think it's overpriced, but it's first party and probably comes with a warranty. So if you're a Sony fanboy, have a PC or PS5 and want Sony reliability, you will probably end up liking it. Controller number 3 is definitely the most complete controller on this list and also the most expensive. It's the Instinct Pro from Scuf. I want to start off by saying I'm not really a huge fan of Xbox controllers just because of their offset joystick layout. But this controller grew on me and I was exclusively using this controller for at least a year because it was so comfortable to me. It feels like the perfect size for my hands, and the build along with its key features made me prefer it over any other controller I had at the time. It has a high performance grip that's pretty subtle, but is very easily the best grip I've ever used on a controller. Instant triggers that compare to mouse clicks that are also the best trigger stops I've ever used on a controller. And last but not least, if you've seen me talk about this controller in any past videos, you know that I love how the 4 paddles are designed and optimized to just 1 finger on each side, and it's the only way I can play naturally with a 4 paddle controller. All of those things plus the other standard upgrades Pro controllers come with easily makes this controller very preferable to me, despite its almost $250 price tag. And all the other new key features is missing, like any stick drift solution, either being a replacement analog or Hall effect. Also a higher polling rate because, fun fact, this controller currently has the lowest polling rate, which could potentially raise input delay. Let me remind you again that it's really expensive, and for no stick drift solutions, you shouldn't expect this controller to work at all after your probably 1-year warranty is fully expired, and actually should expect it to break within the 1 to 2 to 3 year mark, because since there's a potentiometer inside, there won't be much potential. It's for Xbox and PC though, and I do encourage you to try it if you really like good controllers. Controller number 2 is a very popular controller for many reasons, with overwhelmingly positive reviews and even a number 1/overall pick Amazon ranking to back it up. I'm glad I took the chance on this controller because it's simply and fundamentally great. If you watch TikTok, this is probably looking really familiar to you right now because this is the viral G7 SE controller from GameSir, and it mostly takes second place over the last 3 controllers because of its price and its simple key features. It's $45, $30 if you're lucky, and if you just need the necessities, this controller gives you everything you need plus a little bit more. There's back paddles, which is a necessity to me, and also it's the first controller of this list with Hall effect joysticks, which we talked about earlier, completely eliminating the possibility of stick drift. Lastly, there isn't trigger stops, but within the software, there's a hair trigger feature, which gives you an instant trigger response for a minimal actuation. There's literally some of everything good packed into this controller, and for $45 or $30 if you're lucky, I feel like it embarrasses almost every pro controller on the market right now for a fraction of the price. It also has one of the highest polling rates for controllers right now with up to 1000 Hertz, and I can confirm it doesn't feel cheap or unresponsive at all. I obviously recommend all the controllers on this list, but if I didn't have any of these controllers, I would 100% buy this one first, no questions asked. And finally, the best controller on this list, in my opinion, is the Vader 4 Pro from Flydigi. I've been talking about it for a while now, and it's still a criminally underrated controller for many reasons. I mean, first off, it's $80. There's instant click mouse triggers, which are comparable to Scuf, which is one of my favorite key features. Then there's 4 paddles, then mechanical face buttons, then Hall effect joysticks, which you can adjust the tension on, which is an entirely new physical quality of life upgrade / invention, then a 1000 Hertz polling rate, and then a fully customizable app. It's like the perfect budget choice while still giving you so many additional features that makes gameplay almost as convenient as can be. I do want to be upfront though, there are 2 things I do not like about this controller. Number 1, even though it has 4 paddles, the inner paddles are kind of awkwardly placed, which can be annoying if you actually use 4 paddles intensely, which I don't. And the second problem is that there's no raised analog stick. It doesn't come with the controller like how they usually come with pro controllers, and it was sold separately for their Vader 3 Pro and Apex 4 controllers, but I have yet to find a longer analog stick attachment compatible for the Vader 4 Pro. But if I keep asking about it, who knows, maybe they'll make one. Anyways, those things obviously aren't deal breakers for me because it's honestly still the best controller I've used so far, but I like giving useful feedback for you guys' sake and for the sake of future improvements. If you want to try my favorite controller right now, it's compatible for PC and Nintendo Switch, but I would say get it only if you have a PC because, I mean, there isn't much pro gaming to do on Switch. But thanks for watching my list of my top 5 favorite controllers. I'll put all 5 controllers below in the description, so if you want to support my channel, you can buy one or some with my Amazon links. Just please don't use honey.